Welcome to the Scottsdale Vibes Podcast. I'm Alicia Haygood. Today we have a very special guest. We have Mrs. Arizona America, Meghan Charney, who is here as Scottsdale resident. I'm really excited because we're not only going to talk about the Miss Arizona America pageant, but she does so much more. She works with autistic kids. She works with foundations. She also owns her own service, concierge workout service. We'll get into the details of that. And she also has a history in reality television. I may be a little junkie on reality television, so we'll get into that later. It's a secret of mine, so don't tell anyone. But I'm excited because she's a whole package of everything, and she lives here in Scottsdale. So let's take a short break. When we come back, we'll have Meghan Charney at the desk with me. When it comes to protecting you, your family, and all your assets, you need to have someone that you can trust, and that's Jeremy Mueller of State Farm Insurance. Jeremy Mueller has lived in Scottsdale his whole life. How can anyone else know your needs more than someone who's been here and seen it all? Jeremy and his team are always ranked in the top % at State Farm. He cares, he's knowledgeable, and most importantly, he's always available. Don't believe me? Give him a call at 480-515-5223 or find him at jeremymueller.com. Meghan Charney may be Ohio born and bred and raised. I know, the Ohio State. I'm going to hear it from you all, including her, as she is an alumni. But Scottsdale is where she calls home, embracing it head on as a newly crowned Mrs. Arizona American. Before moving to Scottsdale, she called LA home to pursue a career in entertainment, having spent the last 13 years overseeing branded integrations with American Idol, America's Got Talent, The Price is Right, Let's Make a Deal, and Family Feud, all of some of my favorite shows. And she's also a member of the Academy of Reality Television. Meghan and her husband Richard also run a husband-wife producing team, which we'll get into that because they have a show coming out later this month. And she recently left the entertainment altogether to start her own business, BodySpark EMS. She's Arizona's first mobile EMS Fitness concierge service. I'm not done yet because she's also a mom of 3, a small business owner now, a passion for helping others, and which all just goes why she was crowned Mrs. Arizona American 2024. So now that I got all that out with like 3 breaths in between, thank you for taking the time to sit with us today. Let's talk about this. You are a Midwestern girl. I'd say probably half of Scottsdale is from Ohio.
Yes.
I mean, you're with your people here, basically.
Oh, yes. The amount of Ohio State shirts I see around, it's so comforting. We just give each other an OH and it's an IO right back at you. And
it's like, you know.
It's home. It's home. Yes.
So funny.
Yes.
And then like the license plates too, everything.
Oh,
and I heard that Buckeye, I don't know if this is true or not, was kind of named after so many people that moved here from Ohio.
We like to claim it.
Whether it is or not, we'll take it.
We'll take it.
Well, let's talk about this. You and your family moved here during the California exodus during COVID to Scottsdale. Yes. Your husband now is from Arizona.
Yes.
So it wasn't completely just a random pick for you.
Exactly. Yes, he has family here in the Tucson area, but we really liked Scottsdale.
Yeah.
We really love Scottsdale for so many reasons. And we're close to the Phoenix airport. It's a 20-minute flight when we need to, or a 20-minute drive when we need to be at the airport.
Yeah, easy peasy.
Yeah.
I love it. So all of that, and now you're here as Mrs. Arizona American. How has life changed for you since you moved here? You've gotten out of reality television. You're starting your own business. Mom of 3, adapting into the school environment. That's a lot that's happened in 4 years for you.
Yes, it has. Scottsdale has changed my life. It was the best decision we ever made. Aww. We were living in California. We thought that was it for us. And then the pandemic happened. Mm-hmm. And we were working from home. And we've been hearing a lot about Scottsdale. As you mentioned earlier, there's been a mass exodus from California to Arizona for so many reasons. Yeah. For us, it was affordability. And we have 3 kids. We wanted to give them a better life, get a bigger house, have land, and just the proximity to everything. Scottsdale just has a great vibe, the weather, it was everything we were looking for, but it has changed my life.
I love that.
It has changed my life.
Let's talk about getting into the Mrs. Arizona American pageant. You were a cheerleader growing up. You went to the I know it's a very important word in Ohio State. Talk about getting into pageantry. Has it something you've been doing since childhood or anything like that? Because It seems late to get into it as an adult.
No, exactly. It's so late. I can't even believe I still look back and I'm like, who was this girl even a year ago? I don't know her. I've never done a pageant before in my life, but I heard so many good things about the Mrs. Arizona America pageant. It's basically a community of women who are like-minded and want to spread the word about their platform. It really gives you a voice to go do good in your community. And in addition to that, you get to play dress up. It's fun.
I love it.
But I've never done a pageant before. I kind of just signed up on a whim, just said, let's give this a go. I had been working in entertainment for the last 13 years, and I wanted to do something different with my life. I loved being able to work on American Idol and America's Got Talent and these big shows. It was my life, especially while we were living in California. However, upon moving to Arizona, it just felt like I needed to find something here.
Yeah.
Always flying back to LA. And so LA continued to feel like home. And I just said, I want to do something here in Arizona, meet a community of women here, and spread the word about my platform, Autism Sibling Advocates.
I used to work in television production, all behind the scenes like you. And people don't understand, it is a 24/7 job, no matter what side of television you're on. It is a adrenaline junkie is what we are, because we are craving it. And I'm sure like you, because when I moved to Scottsdale, I too had worked in the industry for about 13 years. And when I came down from work, I got depressed. Like I didn't know what to do with myself, but I knew that I wanted something else and something more. It holds on to you.
Yes, it does. It's totally
crazy.
Does. It does. And when you've done something for so long, especially 13 years, it's time for a change. It's for me that's what it was. It was time for a change, and I just thought, I'm going to do this. I have no pageant experience whatsoever, but I'm going to learn.
Let's talk about the qualifications. Pageantry has changed over the past decade, for real. We think of it a lot as bathing suit contests, talents, and then a minor interview process. It's actually more interview than anything. So tell me about the Mrs. Arizona pageant that you kind of did, and what are some of the qualifications to give other women hope?
Absolutely. So right now, you just need to be, the only qualifications are you need to be married and reside in the state to which you are participating or competing in. And it is made up of, the way they score it here in Arizona is 50% interview and then 25% swimsuit and 25% evening gown. And why I wanted to do it was because, again, like I mentioned, 13 years in entertainment, wanted to learn something new. It helps you develop poise, confidence. It refines your public speaking skills. You learn how to walk confidently on stage. You get to learn how to walk like a model and upright and have good posture. And it's all the things I wasn't doing while I was working in entertainment. It's basically running around like a mad woman. And I look at pictures of myself on set from a year ago, and I can't even recognize that woman. She's frazzled. She's running around again like a mad woman and trying to find her purpose. And joining Mrs. Arizona, I felt like gave me a purpose. It gave me a voice. Did it give you, it sounds like it gave you confidence you didn't realize you needed almost. You pull from within it, although it is a competition, and yes, you are competing against other people. The way I look at it, and the way other women who are interested should look at it, is you're competing with yourself. I love that, You hold on to that feeling whenever you first joined, and you take that with you, because when you first join, you must think you have hope. You think you have a chance. Don't worry about the other contestants. Hold on to that feeling when you first hit the submit button to submit your application. Hold on to that feeling of, I got this, I'm confident, I want to do this, and take it with you the whole way. Let's talk a bit. I want to backtrack and go a little bit more back to the reality television show. I am a little reality junkie, and I say little because I am like a Real Housewives kind of fan. Love that. Right. It's how my 10-year-old son says, "Why do you watch a show about women yelling to each other if they're not really friends?" And I said, it makes my life feel better. Those champagne problems that are not the same ones I have, you know? Exactly. How much reality is in reality shows? I just a couple little secrets or something would like be good to tell. Okay, that's a great question. I would say it's hard to put an exact number. I wish I could say, only 50% of it's real. Right, but but there is a storyline that there is a storyline. So when we at the beginning of every season, and I've been on a couple of reality shows too, so that's something I'm speaking from, as well as my experience being on reality television and also working in reality television. So both of those combined, yes, there is a storyline.
Right.
There is. You don't really go into taping something for a reality TV show without a loose script.
Yes.
I'll call it a loose script. So there's different sections, and there's key points to touch upon. How we get there is up to what you're filming, the people who are in front of the camera, but there are objectives. Oh, there are predetermined objectives.
Okay. Because there's this new show on Netflix. It's gone now. It was on for about 4 years, and it was talking about like the producers of reality shows. So it was a show about reality shows. It was all drama. It was fake.
Yeah.
But it was like, no, there's some truth to this. I know it.
There's some truth for sure.
Let's talk. Okay. For instance, Family Feud. Freaking love this game.
Yes.
The families that are picked are hilarious. Like, there's a whole process. So what's something that really stands out to a producer if someone's maybe looking to get on a reality show? And I know every reality show is different in that sense, but
to your point, every reality show is different.
right. So you're looking for different kind of people, right?
Exactly. But a show like Family Feud, I think producers would just look for energy and personality, and not to make it sound so broad, but really people who will do good with Steve's humor. Kind of a big one. He's hilarious.
Yeah.
He's very unscripted and hysterical. And they look for people who they think will mold with that and do good with his questions. And you really just need to honestly have energy. It's the energy.
Yeah. You need to be entertaining.
Yes, you need to be entertaining. You need to speak well, and you need to be confident and not afraid in front of the camera. So a lot of times before being cast onto a reality show, that's why they do in-person interviews, and they'll have a camera, and they want to know how you interact with everything around you.
Yeah.
So
how did you take that skill set into pageantry?
That's a great question. I think entertainment, it made me tough.
Yeah.
Made me have really thick skin.
Yeah.
There's a lot of times
and you're behind the scenes doing it.
Oh, so. Yeah. Working in entertainment, and especially even my first year just moving from Ohio out to LA, it's like, you're not in Ohio anymore.
No.
This is Hollywood. You need to get it together or you're out.
Yeah.
And so I had to get real thick skin real quick.
Yeah.
And I think having that thick skin and that personality to just, I guess, just persevere. Because a lot of it is I had a lot of friends give up after a year.
It's hard.
It's hard. And so you have to want it, and you have to be able to persevere. So I think just having perseverance and having really thick skin helped me a lot during this pageant, because it is a competition. Yeah. Yes, it's a community of women, but it's also a competition, and things will be, you have to just be confident in yourself and be able to take criticism and be able to stand up for yourself and keep on going when it gets tough.
I like it. It's true. But that's a skill set we all need in life.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
You and I both have young kids. We were talking about this before we started recording, and that's something that I teach my kids, you know, when someone says something mean to you or someone's not, it's that thick skin mentality and working through it to move on.
Yep.
You and your husband moved here, Richard. Now you've started your own entertainment company. Yes. There's a show coming out this month, because we're in December. Tell me what's going on, and like, how is that going here, and what are y'all doing with your company here in Scottsdale or Arizona?
Yes. So my husband and I, 5 years ago, we both, as you know, worked full-time in entertainment. My husband does still work full-time in entertainment in LA. He's actually flying back today. But 5 years ago, we started our own production company. Currently and in the past, we have always worked for major production companies, and we said to each other, we want to pitch and produce our own content. Why don't we just start our own side business? So we started our own side business called High Water Productions. And this show that we have has been 5 years in the making. It's a full-length feature documentary. And it just finished the film festival circuit.
Yay!
Yes. And so it's going to be on Apple TV and Amazon Prime, I believe starting December 3rd.
Okay.
And it's called My Last Nerve.
Okay. My Last Nerve.
Yes.
We'll have to watch it.
Yes.
What's it about?
Yes. You know what? So I don't misspeak.
It's okay. Get it out. Yeah. We're going to get something out of your bag.
So glad it's edited. Because the PR people who are behind it have special words that they want me to use.
Use those keywords. Let's get it out, Meghan. Which is great because I know we record this episode a little bit before it airs, but it's airing the week this is coming out on Apple TV. So
amazing.
This will be perfect for everyone too to know. And come on, we're going in the holidays. Who doesn't need a little something to binge watch?
To binge watch. It's a good one.
Because all the Real Housewives are slowing down right now.
Boo. Okay, so it's called My Last Nerve. And the premise is it is a son on the quest to cure his father. So it's in this documentary, we follow Max. He's the main character.
Okay.
And it's his incredible 15-year journey to find a cure for his father's rare and debilitating disease, discovering hope in the uncharted depths of the Arctic Ocean. So that's just what that is what the premise is. But basically what it is we follow along a guy named Max. He's fed up with the pharmaceutical industry. And his father
was do a documentary on that, but that's fine.
For sure. That's a whole nother separate conversation. But his father suffers from a very rare disease.
Okay.
And he was up to, I believe, at one point, 250 pills a week.
Oh my gosh.
And so Max is a very smart, Harvard-educated guy.
Yeah.
And so he's been dubbed a literal genius. And he thinks that he found a clam in the Arctic Ocean that holds the cure to curing this disease.
Huh.
It's really wild. And these clams, they've been around for, I believe, 500 years. They've withstood the test of time for centuries. And so that's sort of what caught him onto it, is there's something in this clam that's making it withstand the test of time. It must have some sort of super healing power. And so they went to the Arctic Ocean. We have this all on footage. Went to Norway. He extracted the clam. And it's now being tested to be inserted into his dad. So it's also an ongoing sort of thing. So if you watch the documentary, what's really cool about it is it's all happening still in real time.
I love that.
So you can also go and follow along his journey in real time as it happens. I believe they're getting close to being able to insert this whatever's in this clam into his father, but his father basically, his body's on fire is what it feels like. So all throughout the documentary, you'll see wooden characters that just ignite in flames, because that is how his father is feeling. He literally feels like he's on fire, and he's just up to 250 pills a week. And the doctors are just saying, there's just no cure, take this pill. And then Max is like, over my dead body. And he found this clam. And so it's really wild. It's just his Max's story is so impressive. I'm probably doing a terrible job.
We'll have to watch it then.
Just take a watch. It's really good.
How are you and Richard constantly looking for new ideas out there? And what are you focused on? So if someone listening has something to pitch or a good idea, how would they go about that?
I love that. If anybody here who is listening has a good idea to pitch, we would love to hear it. We are still very well connected in the LA Hollywood area, and the way it works is because we are a smaller production company, what we would do is we would take that idea and decide if it's something that we want to work with, and if it is, we would then go and likely make a teaser trailer. And then we would pitch it to a larger production company because we are so small. The reason we would do, partner with a bigger company is because they're all repped by the major,
they have the money.
CAA, exactly. So partnering with a bigger production company would allow us to get the idea pitched.
Yeah.
So for instance, for one of the shows we had, we partnered with a larger production company. They're repped by CAA, and CAA went out and pitched it to Netflix, Hulu, HBO Max. And yes, you have to give up 50% of your stake holdings and 50% of your money, but it's obviously worth it to do a co-production, to partner with a bigger production company, because they're the ones that are repped by the agents.
They have the means
exactly.
to get it. Yeah.
And we're small still, so we're just hoping
small and mighty.
Get a few hits under our belt, and then we can be the big production company and not have to go partner, and we can be repped. So right now we're small, but we do have the ins to the larger production companies, having just worked in LA for so long. And so that's what we offer is we're a small production company, but we hold the keys to getting in the door with the bigger production companies to hopefully get a co-pro and then go out to the major streaming platforms.
Talk about thick skin, because that's a no.
Oh.
And then, yes, I love the same idea that you just got 15 million no's from.
Yes. Oh, yeah. In 5 years, this is the only, and I say only, it's a big deal, but we've been working.
You say only
so
because
long.
There's so many other things going on.
Oh, yes. We've pitched, we've gotten really close with a couple of ideas that we've gotten co-production deals on. And what has happened is we'll get a co-production deal, and their agent will take it out to the Netflix and the Hulus. We'll pitch it. We'll wait months to hear back. And then it's just we're not interested. Or we'll go like 8 rounds. I remember we went 8 rounds with a major streaming platform, and they ultimately just decided, not for us. It's like, after 8 rounds? Really?
Yeah.
So, thick skin for sure.
That's a sucky dating game if I've ever heard of one.
It is.
Are y'all focusing more on the documentary side of things?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Feature docs, documentaries. My husband's a big fan of scripted, but scripted is a whole nother ballpark.
It is,
we are definitely focusing on just unscripted at this time.
That's fair. That's kind of what I wanted to get into, and I did not.
No,
you never know where your path leads you.
Exactly. Another ball game.
All of this still combines, you talk about everything you do, but you have a sole purpose. You have a line of direction. You're helping with the documentaries, inform us of what's going on with Matt's story and his dad. You also take this into very serious with the platform that you do for Mrs. Arizona and more outside with Autism Siblings Advocates. You've started your own organization, Siblings of High Needs Individuals. Talk about that. Autism is very well around. It's much more around than when you and I were growing up. The research that we're doing is incredible. I was just talking to someone. I have a friend who his son was diagnosed as autistic and went from not speaking at all to this kid is ridiculously smart, is picked up language in such a short time that you just my heart cries for him, because he was so frustrated that he couldn't communicate, and this kid's a freaking genius. I wish I was as smart as him.
Yeah. It's wild.
Talk about involvement, educate us some more, and how has this personally affected you as well, because you have a brother who's autistic.
Yes. So I grew up with a brother who has severe autism, and I guess I should call it autism with high support needs.
Okay, I was going to say, what does severe mean?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, with high support needs. So he has, we call them episodes, where if he gets frustrated, he will either act out and hurt himself or hurt you.
Yes.
So, for instance, that could mean he'll scratch his forehead, or he will come to me and pull my hair.
Yeah.
And it's sad in a number of ways, because obviously it's you're scared as a person, you don't want to get hurt, but also you're sad for him because he can't express himself.
Right, and that's all it is. It's
nonverbal.
frustration.
It's frustration because they can't properly communicate.
Yeah.
So, and he's only a few years younger than me, so I grew up, my whole adolescent life was growing up with him, and there were times where I just felt so sad, especially not just for my parents having to deal with it, but just for him.
Yeah.
I feel so sorry for him. He doesn't have any friends. He can't communicate. He gets frustrated and hurts himself. There were times where he would get frustrated with me or my brother and come after us. And it's just sad. Ultimately, he's the victim. It's tough, and I struggled with that growing up a lot. There were times where I felt like a victim. Why is this happening to me?
We're teenagers. We don't know better. It's fine.
Exactly. But the older I get, I realize that he is the victim. He's the true victim in all of this. And so I vowed at a young age that I wanted to do something about sibling support. I just felt growing up, there was no support for the sibling. There was support for the parents.
Interesting.
There was no support for me as a sibling.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to cope with the emotions I was feeling because there's so many when you're so young and you're watching your brother struggle, you're watching your parents struggle, and you're trying to make it all make sense.
Right.
And I couldn't relate to anyone. There were no autism resources specifically for the sibling. And so I vowed at a young age I would do something about that, and here I am.
I love that. I never really thought about that too. And I can only imagine, I have absolutely no firsthand experience in this. I can only imagine being a teenager, because I was one of those, you making it about yourself. And it's not intentional. That's just how our brains work at that time. It is all about your brother. It is all about him at all times. And you probably were like, what about me? You know, like, and your parents were like, well, you're the easy, normal kid.
Yeah,
I don't need to help you kind of thing. That emotional support you weren't getting as well. But you do. You feel for your brother because he can't help it kind of thing.
Exactly.
So what are we doing? What are we doing with siblings of high needs individuals? How are you working with those, siblings? Is it all ages? Like, how does that work with the organization?
Yep, great question. So Autism Sibling Advocates is an organization that I started, which right now we are just a website. So what I do with my website is we have recommended resources. We have tips from professionals. I go out and I interview different professionals from around the Phoenix and Scottsdale area who can give me good advice to give individuals who have autistic siblings. So there's those professional tips. There are also there's messages of encouragement directly to anyone who needs it, as well as personal journey stories.
Are you trying to be like a resource location, like your website kind of thing?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of the times, people or parents who have autistic children and they have a sibling, it's hard to get out of the house sometimes as a family and go to like family therapy and go and get advice. I remember one time growing up, my parents thought it would be nice for us to go to family therapy together. But the second we got in the door, my brother was so agitated, he was pulling photos off the wall and banging his head, and we literally got kicked out of the family therapy session. And it's funny because my mom had the same reaction. We're laughing now. My mom, we were just laughing. We walked out and we're like,
what are you going to do?
Okay.
You know what? But when we were growing up, Meghan, that wasn't as well known. We didn't have the resources. We didn't have the education. We didn't have the science-backed studies to understand what to do. We are working in the right direction of that. And it was like you did the best you could,
Do the best.
How's your brother doing now?
He's doing good. He's still hanging in there. Not much has changed. The only thing I think that has changed since I graduated high school and left the nest has been he is staying at his own facility, which is amazing. It's a great break for my parents, but I also think it's a great break for him. And I always tell my parents, I think it's nice that he is living separate from this house, because although he can't communicate and he operates on a lower level, he is still an adult, and I think adults need their independence at some regards. He does have full-time around-the-clock care. Yeah. So he is constantly supervised. It's a government-run program, which is incredible. It is amazing we have these government-run programs.
I would assume, too, that it's nice. They're, like we said, they're not stupid.
Right. Yeah.
That he doesn't feel alone.
Exactly.
No one in the household can relate to what he was going through. For him to be around like-minded other adults and stuff like that feel what he feels. Yeah. Not feeling alone and having a sense of community is what every human being in this world needs in that sense.
Exactly.
So that's great.
Yeah.
We've talked about all that. Let's add one more thing that we haven't even talked about. You're now the first EMS concierge service. So let's just be a small business owner together as well.
Yes.
Talk about that. Like, health and wellness is coming up. We're headed into the holiday season. Sugars, alcohol, parties, you name it. And then where it's like January 1st kicks in, it's like, oh, screw the last 30 days. I've just destroyed my body.
Right?
What are we going to do, Meghan?
Right?
Call Meghan is what we're going to do.
You're going to call me. We're going to come to your house.
Again, I will have the links to all of these websites that she's been talking about in the description of this episode and on our YouTube channel as well. So please go check those out so you can be directly linked to Meghan and everything we've been talking about today. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And just real quick, I am going to, while I'm talking about my business, I'm going to take this off.
That's fine.
Just because I am supposed to keep it separate.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. But next year when I pass the crown, I will be a sponsor of the pageant. So I'm really excited for that.
But see, it's all baby steps to get you where you're going. Yeah, we all have to build the path. So I love that. So talk about that now as Meghan Charney.
Yes. It is so wild to be able to own my own business. Like I said, I've worked in corporate and in production and entertainment for 13 years. And when I started my journey in pageantry, I've always loved fitness, but I especially started paying more attention to what I was eating, to what I was doing to train. And a week before Mrs. Arizona, I did my first ever EMS session and I fell in love. I have never experienced anything like this.
All right, let's talk about what EMS is.
Yes. Electrical muscle stimulation.
Yeah.
So basically what this is, and it's a whole body fitness session, what I do. So basically what it is it's a 20-minute session. And in 20 minutes, you burn up to 500 plus calories.
Okay.
In 20 minutes. It's the most wild thing ever. And you build strength. It's perfect for busy moms because I'm also a busy mom. But I wanted to start it because I knew I couldn't work 60 to 80 hours a week in entertainment, number one.
Yeah.
But also, when I tried this for the first time before Mrs. Arizona, I fell in love and I wanted more people to have exposure to this. And I quickly realized there was no company. There's a couple companies, I believe, that offer EMS Fitness, but I wanted to be the first one to actually do it mobily.
Yeah, bring it to you.
Yes, bring it to you. So it's
even
convenient.
more convenient.
Yes. EMS concierge. I went and got the best equipment, and now I've started my own business. It's called BodySpark EMS.
I love it.
So excited about it, but it has truly changed my life.
I love that. So we can go check it out. And now's the perfect time to learn more and get in early so you can do something with the work, that kick off to the New Year goal, which honestly, it shouldn't be your goal at New Year's. Let's just start now. Let's be honest.
Right?
I love it. So that's it. BodySparks, EMS.com. Again, all of this will be in the description of this episode. You've done so much. We've sat here. I mean, it's already been 30 minutes. We've been having a conversation. I can't believe that. But Meghan, I just welcome to Scottsdale because you and I kind of moved here around the same time. I moved here in 2019. I
didn't know that.
Right before COVID hit. We moved in July and then COVID hit March. So like you, everything is still new. But like you, and we have a similar background, we kind of just dove in. We have nothing to lose. And I think that's the thing about Scottsdale we can all gain from Meghan's story is just dive in. You have nothing to lose and you have everything to gain by taking that chance and becoming the new Mrs. Arizona, right? Or starting a new business or becoming the room mom of your kid's school, whatever it is, or becoming a new small business owner. If you don't have any kids or a family here, there's room for you to do so much. And the fact that you've done this and just taken it by storm, I think speaks volumes, number one, to our city and our community, and to you for just having that passion and dedication and striving to be your best version and showing us as well. So I appreciate that for you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Scottsdale's changed my life for all those reasons.
I love it. Well, before we leave, it's my last question I ask everybody.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
So what is your favorite Scottsdale vibe? I know.
Oh, man. Put me on the spot.
It's so funny because everyone can talk the whole time and they're like, I don't know. What do you even mean? I'm like, what's your favorite thing about Scottsdale?
Yeah,
but it catches everybody off guard.
It's such a good question. But obviously you ask it being the Scottsdale Vibe
Right.
podcast.
Exactly.
Okay. My favorite Scottsdale vibe. And it can be anything.
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 There's no wrong answer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. My favorite Scottsdale vibe is the community of women that I have met since I have moved here. And I mean that in multiple ways. I mean that through my kids' school. Mm-hmm. Community of moms there are amazing, you being one of them. And the community of women I've met through the Mrs. Arizona pageant. The community of women I have met and am looking forward to meeting through BodySpark EMS. it's just been so incredible, the support I've felt since moving to Scottsdale.
That's great.
So number one answer, Scottsdale vibe, is a community of women.
I love to
here
hear
in this
that.
town.
That can be difficult for us women. We can be very competitive with one another.
Yes.
And I love to hear that. Yes. Well, go check out, like I said, I have the description to everything we talked about today in this episode, as well as on our YouTube channel. Meghan, congratulations. Thank you for representing Arizona in the best capacity that you do. And I look forward to watching you grow as well.
Thank you.
Stay tuned. When we come back, we'll have the calendar of events. Buying a home can be scary and sometimes frustrating, but all of that can go away with the right realtor. And that's where Sean Shackleton with the Shackleton Group is here for you. Sean has over 25 years experience in real estate. She's here to get you what you want and won't settle for less. She's experienced, knowledgeable, and understands this market, which these days is always changing. Take the stress out of your next home purchase by calling Sean at 480-734-7277. You can also find her at theshackletongroup.com. Well, it's officially gone, so there's only one Thanksgiving I'm talking about. There's only one thing that can happen, and that is Christmas and Hanukkah and every other holiday joyful spirit. So Home for the Holiday Jazz Fest is happening this Saturday, so it's experience a night of soulful jazz this holiday season. Neo's homecoming concert would be an evening of holiday jazz, soul-stirring jazz, and warm community vibes. There's no better place than the ASU Kier Center for this soulful sound. The concert will be full of holiday classics, heartfelt ballads, and new songs from her. Her dad is Doc Jones, so he puts on the Scottsdale Jazz Fest. If you don't know him, then you don't know jazz, let's be honest. More that's going on, Scottsdazzle, which is all these events happening in Old Town, so be sure to check the calendar, the description, link to the calendars in this episode, and that's happening all month. Some of those events you do have to sign up for, so be sure to sign up early. And for all your other holiday needs, go check out Experience Scottsdale. They do an amazing job with everything that's coming up, from the Fairmont Princess, Carolyn Commons, Scottsdale Quarter. Everyone has something that's going on, so go check it out for a month full of activities. Have a wonderful week, Scottsdale. Keep vibing, and I'll see you around town.